In today's video, I'm going to teach you the best way to answer the interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is an incredibly common interview question, and it's very easy to get it wrong. But by watching this video all the way to the end, you can make sure that is never you. Let's go. Now, as with every interview question video I do, I like to tell you the why. Why does a company ask this interview question? And the reason they ask this question is they want to see how you plan out your goals. Do you plan things? Are you intentional about your career? And do you have general direction? That is why they ask this interview question. Now, I want to start with some do's. These are things that you absolutely should do when you answer this question. I'm then going to go to some don'ts, things you absolutely want to avoid, and then I'm going to answer it myself, giving you an example that you can replicate in an interview. Now, the first do is I want you to resist the urge to look past this role. It's funny. All hiring managers are interested in someone who is really passionate about moving into their role, is passionate about the work, and is going to be there for a while. So you want to avoid immediately talking about roles 2 or 3 roles down the road because it's going to make it seem like you were looking past their role. So make sure you do avoid looking past what they have in front of you. Also, it's important that you do show how this specific job and where you're headed, how they align, right? They've got to be part of the same story. It can't be, they're asking you where you want to be in 5 years and it's completely different from what you were doing right now. That's going to make it seem like this role that you were interviewing for is more of a detour than part of the same journey. Now, also a big do is you do want to focus on the skills that you're going to be picking up along the way. When they're asking this question, a lot of people view it as, what is the job I am going to be in? But there is so much more to this question, and part of that is the development you're going to achieve along the way. Skills, education, competencies, organizations you might want to be a part of, right? In terms of like maybe the Toastmasters, or perhaps it's a tech group you want to join to help you increase your skill. Whatever it is, just remember that you really want to emphasize the skills you're going to pick up on the way instead of just focusing on, this is the job I want to be in. I want to talk about don'ts now. The first don't is don't be so specific. Some people, they hear this, they go 5 years, they're like, let me lay out my 5-year plan. 1.5 years, I want to be promoted. Another 1.5, I'd like to be in this position. So be a bit more nebulous, less specific when it comes to actual position titles and actual timelines, right? You want to hear this question and you want to give it in generalities instead of talking about specifics, because when you give specifics, it might not fit with their specific timeline for what they think this person's going to come into their role, the growth they'll experience in their organization, on their team. You don't want those to clash. So you want to have a little bit less in terms of specifics on timeline and role title. The next don't, I feel compelled to say this, is you don't want to say, I want your job. Or in 5 years, I'll be sitting on your side of the desk asking better questions. Or, I don't know where I'll be in 5 years. Anything could happen, right? That's not inspiring. You also don't want to say, not here. I know I won't be here, even though the average tenure for an employee in America is 3.1 years. And statistically, it's less likely that you're both here in 5 years than at least one of you is somewhere else. But don't say any of that. You want to avoid saying, I want your job, I have no idea, or not here. Avoid those things. And now I'm going to answer it for you. This is me giving you a sample answer. What you can do here is listen to it, pick out bits and pieces that work for you and make it your own. But this is how I would go about answering it. That's a great question. I want to continue to grow and develop as a professional over the next 5 years. Specifically, I think I want to work on my presentation skills because I think that's incredibly important. I'm thinking about going back to school and getting my MBA, and I want to work on my general business acumen and industry knowledge. I think for where I want to head in my career right now, this role is perfect for me. And maybe down the road, I could see myself moving into a senior version of this role or perhaps a management role. But for right now, I'm really focused on continuing to grow, continuing to learn, and continuing to make myself a stronger professional in this specific capacity. Something like that is a great way to answer this question. It makes them believe that 1, you're really focused on growth and getting better, always a good thing. 2, you've given actual thought to what you want to do over the next 5 years, and it's around getting better and learning more and becoming more developed. It also, you reinforced this role right now would be really good for me in my career. I want to go, and then maybe down the road I could see myself moving into a senior version or a management version of this. This is really good because to a hiring manager it says, okay, that's a reasonable plan. That's a reasonable goal for 5 years. And I really like that along the way, they're going to be becoming better, a better fit for the role. They're going to be learning. They're continuing to develop. That is why that is how you want to answer that question. I can tell you as a hiring manager, you're checking a lot of the boxes of what you're hoping to hear when someone answers that interview question. So they're gonna ask you questions, but what about you? You probably need to ask them questions too. Well, I made this for you. This right here is a video designed to give you great questions to ask in your interview to help you understand exactly what you're going to be doing in a role. Sometimes job descriptions don't do a great job of telling you exactly what you're going to want to do, but if you ask this questions, you will know.